Right. Am I in shot?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know? You haven't even looked down there.
Because I'd set the angle. Yep.
I can lose these headphones. Don't need to.
Ugh.
Right.
Pass the crisps, will you?
I will pass the crisps.
Pass them crisps.
That's the crispies probably the left-hand side.
Precisely.
Yes. What was the name of that musical Youth? It was a
Mm.
one-hit wonder for girls. Wasn't it? Past the Dutch on the left-hand side. He was a very young child, the lead singer, wasn't he? He was like 10 or 11, and singing that chorus about smoking weed and passing joints around. It was a bit disturbing. I wonder if
Whatever
you knew.
is disturbing. It's fine. Kids smoke weed.
And sing about it on Top of the Pops.
They should do. It should happen more often, in my book.
You'd like that if more often. Well, Top of the Pops isn't even.
No, it's not even a thing.
But if children went on television talking about taking drugs and singing about
No. Taking weed. I'm not saying they should turn up and say, let's do some meth. I'm just saying weed should be fine.
Okay.
My little brother is a weedy man.
But he's not 11.
He is. How old is he now? He's 16. Yeah, he's 16.
Oh, you're not talking about Ben?
No, Ben. No, I'm talking about
Is he a weedy?
my other
man?
brother who got arrested for having weed on him.
Okay, but at 16, that's okay. I smoked weed when I was 16.
Yeah.
But that kid in the musical Youth is younger than that.
But he's like 7 or 8.
Not
Okay.
even that young. I was thinking like 9. I mean, I haven't seen the video in a long time, but yeah. So
But I
think
assume I'm
7
one
or
of the
8
people who
year old-
thinks that weed should be legal. So
Yes.
Yeah, but I do think there should be an age limit on. I mean, tobacco's legal, but you don't want like 8-year-olds smoking cigarettes. You do? Is that something you'd like to see more? Is that something that you'd like to be actively promoted?
imagine how much you would laugh if you were walking past a woman and her baby in a carriage and the baby was smoking. Just imagine the amount of laughs you would have. You would have so many laughs.
I might laugh about that, yeah. I might laugh about it. I think I would also feel a little bit like the child was being abused.
No, the child's totally into it. The child is like puffing
What are
away.
you talking about here? Like a toddler, like a
Yeah.
2-year-old,
Yeah.
and just smoking a fag.
When you think about how like cigarettes are made, they're clearly made for tiny hands. They're like tiny things.
As opposed to like a big old stogie.
I guess if like me and you were holding a cigarette, we'd do it in between our fingers. But as a child, they'd like hold it like that. Like,
I mean, I think anything involving sort of burning material for a child is not. I mean, they're not allowed to play
Like
with
a barn.
matches or cigarette lighters.
like a barn.
Or what do you mean, like a barn?
Like a barn that's on fire.
They shouldn't play with that.
It's a good idea. I'd put it on a poster.
It's a good idea for children to play with burning
Yeah,
barns.
it's a good idea for children not to play with burning barns. If a barn's on fire, don't send your children towards that.
I won't. I mean, I don't have any children, but if I did, and if I do in the future, I think, yeah, if I was to see a burning barn, there's something I might do about it. I mean, I might just choose to ignore it. But if one thing that I wouldn't do is if one of my children was with me, I wouldn't.
You don't have any children?
No, but in the future, if I do have children,
Okay.
or in theory, if I did have children,
You wouldn't send them towards a burning barn.
I wouldn't send them towards any kind of fire, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much you know about fire, but it's quite hot.
Sure.
And it's actually, I mean, hot can be good. I mean, a nice summer's day.
Debatable.
Actually, you don't like that, do you? A nice hot summer's day.
Not a big fan of
You
the
don't like
warm.
that. You presumably you were liking the weather today.
The weather, it's raining, it's drizzly, It's Overcast. I came up with an idea for
Yeah.
a film
Right.
because it was overcast one day, and I was walking and I was like, "Oh, it's Overcast," and I was like, "Imagine a film called Overcast, which is a film where there's a guy who is in charge of casting for a new play,
Right.
and he gets really drunk, and he overcasts the film where he's
So you
hired
take-
too many people to be in the play.
Each
Sorry, the
role
play.
of the film in the
It's a play. It's supposed to be a play. Yeah.
Each role in the play, he's hired. You know,
5 people for each.
When I was in primary school, I had a play. It was a nativity play, and a class of like 25 kids. I mean, there aren't 25 characters in the nativity story. So that the teacher didn't want people to be left out, just standing on the sidelines or whatever, or just doing the light. You can get one kid doing the lighting or whatever, and blah blah blah. That's it's just not going to feel. So what she did was she gave so 2 kids played each role, and it was in verse, right, the way she'd written it. And so they do like 1 line each, if you see what I mean. They trade off lines, they'd alternate lines. So it's particularly weird in the nativity play because there are 3 shepherds and 3 wise men, so there were 6 shepherds.
I would totally watch that.
wise
I
men,
would so watch that.
And there were 2 Marys, 2 Josephs, 2 what's his name that wanted to
King Herod.
Herod. Thank you. There were 2 Herods. So there was two of everyone, and it was a bit odd.
I can imagine.
Frankly. I mean, it was a compromise to get everyone involved. I understand that, but the final result was it was a strange experience to watch and to be a part of.
That was the plot of that idea. The idea was that every role ended up having like 5 people who were signed on to play that role, so they had to write like ridiculous things for that.
Okay. And so the solution would be
in my
same
head,
as my teacher, that each
in my
character
head
would read out a line, and then the next actor would read out the next character.
It wasn't
line.
a kids' play. It was like a proper it's going to be seen
Broadway, like a David Mamet Broadway play.
So in my head, the guy who hired people was played by Adam Devine from Workaholics.
Oh right, is he the one that was in Comedy Bang Bang?
Yes, Adam Devine.
Okay,
from his assistant was played by Chris O'Dowd.
Right.
I was going to hire Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as Patrick Stewart was an alcoholic and Ian McKellen was a junkie.
Okay.
And they were both playing ridiculous versions of themselves. Like they used to be good, but they're now terrible and they haven't got a job in ages. I think the love interest for Adam Devine was going to be played by the blonde girl from the 2nd generation of Skins, but I can't remember what her name was.
I've never seen an episode of Skins in my life.
This is the thing.
They had trailers for the last episode of Skins, last ever episode of Skins, and I was thinking, I just need to miss this one episode, and I would have missed not only an entire show, but an entire cultural phenomenon.
6 seasons and then
missed.
7 minisodes.
I mean, I'm not saying I haven't seen any scenes from. I've maybe watched half an episode once or something, but I've certainly not watched an episode from beginning to end. I think I'm quite proud of that. I mean, I've got no right to be proud of that.
No.
I mean, it's a really pathetic thing to pride myself on. Really, choosing not to watch a television program. I mean, it's
you win.
It involves 0 effort. It involves less than no effort on my part. But yeah, it was a victory, and I did win. I did. I won that. I won the Skins.
Success.
I won Skins. So where were we? We were talking about this Chris O'Dowd And Overcast. So, I mean, do you know what the play was about? Is that something that you...
All I had in my head was the cast. I think I'd just seen, what's it called? Wet Hot American Summer.
Don't know.
You haven't seen Wet Hot American Summer?
I haven't seen.
Okay.
If I had, I would have gone, Wet Hot American Summer.
But that's a film. It's like, I guess it's kind of this generation's Airplane.
Okay.
Like it's just
Airplane's really sort of 2 generations ago, really, isn't it?
Okay, I guess so. But it's this generation's Airplane. But it's got loads of people that you'll just watch it and you'll be like, oh yeah, that guy.
Okay.
Paul Rudd and so just like
That's it. That guy. Paul Rudd in it.
It's got Paul
That
Rudd
makes it this generation's Airplane because it's so recognisable to everyone that knows who Paul Rudd is. That you could say that about any film with Paul Rudd.
People that know it.
Come on, who else has it got?
Elizabeth Banks.
She's from
all sorts.
Okay.
Archer, the guy who voices Archer, John, what's his name?
That's Elizabeth Banks.
No.
She voices Archer.
No. Elizabeth Banks.
She puts on a male voice really convincingly, or do they pitch it down in post? No,
anyway, it's a very good film.
I feel like I know who she is, but I think we've been derailed. I think you were talking about Oversold.
Overcast.
Overcast. It could be also Oversold, I guess. If having Overcast,
Oversold is the sequel.
He sold too many tickets than there were seats in the venue. That could be the twist at the end.
The sequel.
He finally managed to make it work with all of these extraneous actors, either by creating new roles or splitting roles into 2, or having like loads of twins, triplets, octuplets, and finally, after a lot of strife and pain and just logistical nightmare, he managed to shoehorn in all these extra actors, to the play whose script demanded. A third or a quarter of the actors that he'd now contracted to work on this play, but he now realises he sold 3 times as many tickets as there are.
Sorry, what's the new name? Oversold. See, that's not the Overcast is kind of like a joke. It's like Overcast is in the weather and the.
I suppose Oversold just.
Oversold doesn't make any. That's not a.
What about Double Booked?
Double Booked.
Again, it only really has one. You could have something to do with it. He's a writer, and he's writing 2 books at the same time. One is like a really personal. It's a really personal book for that he's comes right from his heart. Something he's wanted to write since he was 16. And another is a really just commercial trashy novel for a big
this is perfect.
publisher.
It's not really. It's not a sequel to the first one. It's just a completely different situation.
Yeah, this is just a separate film.
But we still hire the same actors and.
So what if
so Adam Devine
in the plot of Overcast. Right. What is being cast for, and subsequently Overcast, is a play called Double Booked.
Oh shit!
In which a writer, or as it had to end up being, 4 writers, had 2 books each.
Yes.
To write. One of which was the book that was probably not going to sell very well.
Oh,
but it was
sold.
He believed in it, and that it's the next, the great American novel, if it was set in America or whatever. But he's also having to write a really trashy romance.
50 Shades of
or,
Grey.
Yeah, 50
Yeah.
Shades of Grey. It's a 50 Shades of Grey cash-in novel that he's been given like a big advance to write. But he just can't. It's really hard for him to sit down and write this trash because he's not feeling it, man. But the other novel, he's working on that day and night. He's pouring out his heart. But the advance wasn't for that book. It was for the 50 Shades of Grey cash in. So what's he going to do? Is he going to hand in his magnum opus to the publisher and say, I know it's not much like 50 Shades of Grey, but I did write it.
Okay, so sorry. So the play that's in Overcast.
Mm-hmm.
Stop.
Sorry, so that's based on.
Did you say stop?
Yeah. Okay, start again. Every half hour I need to start recording again.
Okay, cool.
That's all.
Alright.
Weird, man.
Okay.
So the play in Overcast.
Yeah.
What were you saying? That this is a version of something that the character from Double Booked.
No. The play is double booked. So what the guy's casting for is a play called Double Booked.
Okay.
Right. And that's the plot that I've just said about a writer who's having to write.
So
2
Double
books.
Booked isn't real.
No, it's a play within a play. Or
Overcast.
Is Overcast a play or is it a film about a guy casting for a play?
Overcast is a film about a guy casting for.
Okay, but the play he's casting for is a play within a film called Double Booked.
And then the second one is Double Booked. Which
Second one?
is the second one. It's the sequel. But it's also a prequel and it's also not true.
Well, none of this is true. I mean,
Pretty sure Overcast is true. I've written the script.
it doesn't make it true. I mean, it's an idea you've had. I mean, whether or not you've written the script,
It's debatable.
I think you have an odd version of the odd idea of what truth is.
I read a book.
You read a book, did you?
I read one book and then I read another book and then I put them together.
What, just physically you put the books together?
And I saw, I finished.
Did you
The
use
first
any
book.
kind of adhesive, or did you?
No. I just put them together, and then when I finished the first book,
I
I
mean, that's
read
just
straight into the second
I mean,
book.
you can't see this, but I mean, you can. But there's some books over here on a bookshelf behind George here, our cameraman. Actually, yeah, can we get a shot of that? Yeah. You see. So those are some books that have been put together. There's nothing very remarkable about that. I mean,
Dr. Victorious.
Is that just a random name or phrase that you've decided to introduce into the conversation at this point?
I mean, this is empty.
I mean, apropos of nothing, or does it relate in some way? I mean, you think about it while you eat that crisp. George, just to explain what's happening here. George wants some crisps there because me and Sam have been hogging them. We've been keeping them over on our side.
You're bogarting the crisps.
We're bogarting them, yeah. Yeah. Did you say bogarding?
Yes. I always get that word wrong.
Well, it's a bit, that's okay. Yeah, that's. Anyway, so I think that's it. That's an idea for a film and a play within a film. You seem to think that the sequel to the film would be the play, a version of the play.
No, I thought that's what you were saying.
Well, I was initially, but then I had the idea that you could kind of fold these ideas in together, because there's going to need to be a play within the film, isn't there?
But then how are you going to cash in?
Precisely.
Well,
we're going to make
we
them
could
money.
We could do like we could do a board game.
That's just silly.
Board game of
Or sell Overcast toys.
Oh, Overcast toys.
toys like in He-Man. So yeah, and it's a good cash-in because, as we've discussed, there's a lot more characters than there needs to be because
That's the point of the film. Yeah.
Overcast. So there's a big cast of characters, each of which could be an action figure. Although action figures are usually kind of superheroes and things like that, rather than kind of out of work actors. I don't think I've seen I did see an action figure of a Starbucks barista in a gift shop on the Strand. But I don't think that really adds anything to what we're saying.